Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of your Astraordinary Coffee Chats. I'm Davide Censo.
And I am Matteo Barbarossa.
And we are the founders of Astra Coffee. And we're here to make your cup of coffee extraordinary. Today, Matteo, I would love to talk about the origins of coffee. The entire journey from where the coffee starts to when it ends in my cup in the morning. But before we embark on this journey, let's start by defining what is coffee? Where does coffee come from originally?
The legends say that everything started in the Horn of Africa, in Ethiopia, in the ancient Ethiopia, where a shipman named Kaldi, brought his ships to the greenest land. At a certain point, he noticed that the ships they were a bit nervous, and he asked himself, "Why my ships are a bit nervous? They're, going around very fast." And he checked, and he noticed that those ships what's been that way?
For the ship's surface.
What the fuck is this ship? What the fuck you telling? So I want to say the legend.
What is happening?
Fuck, I know it to tell you in Italian. I try to translate it in English. It sounds like an idiot. The ship? Yeah, the fuck
Are ships nervous? Are ships nervous?
He gives the ship whiskey. So it's a kind of whiskey. Yeah, it's the goats, sheep. Yeah, the sheep or goats.
Oh, the sheep.
Sheeps.
I was with you.
Thank you very much.
You were following.
I was following, yeah.
Oh, I did not have an idea. I was imagining little ships, little boats being really nervous going through the sea.
He's a sailman, not shipman.
Oh wow!
And Popeye sailor man too.
So is it talking about sailors? Is it like what's the
We
deal?
should say goats. And
Goats.
You can pick it up with just the story. I think we have the intro.
Okay.
Right, perfect.
Okay. Okay, so where I start from? Okay.
A very fascinating journey.
Okay. Coffee journey, it's a very fascinating journey. So it's romantic and a lot of adventure inside. So everything starts in the Horn of Africa. Everything starts in the ancient Ethiopia, where a guy named Kaldi brought his goat to the greenest land in order to feed the growth, And at a certain point, Kaldi noticed that his goats were a bit nervous and they was really running around, and Kaldi asked himself, "So what's happening down there?" And noticed that his goat ate some strange red cherry, and he was fascinated about that. So he was asking himself, "So what's about these red cherries?" And Kaldi picked up some of that cherries and brought up to a local monastery. Back in the days, it was the science lab of the time, And these monks tried to boil this cherry to make it infused with this cherry, and drank the infuse. And they felt on them the awakening, the effect of coffee. So this is where coffee were discovered. The legend says.
We discover caffeine.
Yes, where we discover caffeine. And then the coffee naturally grown up in Africa. How coffee landed to South America. So there is a lot of stories about that and legend, but somebody back in the days stole a little plant of coffee, brought this plant of coffee to the Amsterdam Botanical Garden, where the scientists of the time took care about this little plant, and then they shipped, literally sailored the plant to South America. And boom, now we have one of the biggest country of production with the place of the world where the coffee comes from. So this is a bit of a fascinating history about
awesome.
about the coffee.
Well, in modern times, so today, where does coffee grow, and what is that we call coffee, really?
So coffee grows in the tropical line of the world. We call it coffee belt. There is the tropical line of the world in South America, in Africa, In India, they have a lot of great coffee, a lot of great Arabica, a lot of great Robusta, but the technical name of Robusta is Canephora, really. So we go down to the Sumatra Island in the southern mid-east, in the southern part of Asia. We move down to Vietnam that have a lot of coffee production, and I know that also there are some coffee production in China. Yeah, so this is the coffee belt and where the coffee comes from.
Beautiful. And so what is the coffee that we drink? Is it still a red cherry like the monks were brewing?
No, not really. what it is, what we drink. We drink the infused roasted seed, that is the seed of a cherry, that is the fruit of a tree that grows up in this part of the world, okay? Right. So there is a tree that makes flower, makes cherries inside have seeds. If you watch to your coffee beans, okay, you see that they have one side that is straight and the other side that is cubed. And if you put two seeds close to each other, okay, you see the entire circle because each cherry have two seeds inside.
Got it. So they're not two halves of the same seed, they're two different seeds next to each other.
Yes, totally. There is a kind of a cherry that is the last cherry of the branch that the seeds inside, two seeds bend into just one seed, okay? Oh. It's called caracolito. It's a very particular cherry that some kind of coffee, so some kind of coffee trees can give to you, but so most of the time they have two cherries inside.
Yeah, two seeds inside.
Yeah, two seeds. Yeah, two seeds.
Makes sense. So great. So now we know where it grows, what it looks like when you see it in nature on a tree. But what is the journey to go from this red cherry with the seeds inside all the way to my cup?
Yeah.
Like, to start, how does this get harvested?
Okay, so the first differentiation starts when people pick up the coffee from the tree. First method is literally selective hand picking of the coffee. Me and you go to the coffee tree and just select the reddest cherry, the best cherry that we see.
Okay, what do we choose? Do we choose the ones by color, or is there any other thing that we need to look for?
Yeah, we choose them by color. So there is a red color that is the perfect red for is the perfect maturation point of the cherry. We don't want to pick the green cherry, we don't want to pick the yellow cherry, we don't want to pick the black cherry that are rotten or over mature.
So we're looking for something that is ripe and the right red color, and we pick them manually.
Yeah, and we pick them.
That's one process.
Yeah, that's one process. The other process is stripping out literally all the cherries. But in this way you will have a different kind of coffee at the very end, so with more defect. So just these small things at the very beginning there are two roads that diverge in this moment. And from this moment we need to separate the pulp of the cherry from the seed of the cherry. Now we have other two roads that diverge. We can take the sun-dried roads, where the coffee is cleaned literally by laying the coffee on a patio and leaving this and using the sun for doing its job, like drying the pulp of the cherry.
Okay, so we lay with this methodology, we lay the cherries out and we let the sun just basically dry out the pulp.
Yes.
Until we get to the bean.
Yeah, and more or less until you get to the bean, so the south part of the cherry will not destroy it 100%. There will still be a bit the external part of the cherry, but you collect it and you put these seeds into the special machine that will clean it up for you.
That basically strips the rest of the remaining of the pulp.
Yes, strips out.
So what are the pros and cons of this method? It seems like very natural.
Yes.
Does it have any contraindications?
It is very natural. It is very cheap also because so you just use
the sun is always there.
The sun is always there, so you don't have to turn it on and use electricity for that. So it's very easy method also. But so the sun is there, but it's very strong, and we'll start some kind of roasting process for the beans. So it starts to caramelize the sugars that are contained into the beans. So this could lead to a non-uniform cup, not a very clean cup.
So this sort of like pre-roasting by the sun is something
Yeah.
we would like to avoid.
Yes, totally, absolutely. It's something that we will love to avoid. And to avoid that, you can use the other road.
So there is another method.
Yes, you can use another method that is called water process method. Okay, so you literally put all your cherry into a pool filled with water. At a certain point, the non-mature, the non-good cherry will float, and the good cherry will sink it down. Okay, so the bacteria that are present into the water will eat the external part of the cherry, and then you collect all the cherry that you have in the bottom and lay again the cherry on a patio and leave in the sun. Dried out the cherry. Then you take the cherry again, you put it into the special machine that
Strip the pulp out.
strip the remaining pulp out, and then you have the water processed coffee.
Beautiful. And at this point, we have the green bean.
Yes.
Selected and isolated. Is there another selection process that needs to happen at this point?
Yeah, there is another selection process at this point. There are people just literally watching at coffee and take it out some mistakes, okay, some beans that are not very okay.
Eliminating, let's say,
Yes.
the worst beans.
Yes. Then you put the coffee into your Utah bag. Usually Utah bag are 60 kilo, in Colombia 69, if somebody wants to know that. So, and yeah, now the coffee is ready to be shipped.
And so these are big canvas bags that get shipped all over the world, obviously. And the next step in the journey of those beans is at their roasting.
Yes, totally. So it's arriving to the coffee factory. First things that the roaster wants to do is to check the coffee to see if what he's paying for is what he received, okay? So you want to open your bag, take a sample out of the coffee and see if there is some defected beans or there is no defected beans. So if you really get what you paid for.
So if that selection process was really effective
Yes.
and we really isolated the beans that we wanted.
Yes, totally. And then, so you start to roast the coffee. So there are zillion ways to roast the coffee, but you can choose also here two different pathways. The first one is to blend the coffee before roast the coffee.
Blend the green beans first.
Yes, or roast the green beans separately and then blend it together if you want to create a blend.
Is there a specific roasting that goes with a specific type of coffee? How many type of recipes are out there? How easy or complicated the roasting process is?
So there are, I think, infinite type of recipe out there because each coffee needs his particular way of roasting or roasting profile, okay? And you have to design that based on the density of the coffee, based on the percentage of humidity of the green coffee, based on what kind of aroma and flavors you want to have in your final cup, okay? So each kind of coffee needs its specific recipe, roasting recipe, okay? And this is the mastership of the roast master, okay, of the people that will roast the coffee. We use the roasting machine.
That's amazing. So I heard about specialty coffee. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are also learn about specialty coffee, and we will have another episode specifically about that. But I wanted to know basically if in what part of this journey we select coffee to be specialty. Or if it has something to do with all the steps in this journey.
It's something that is related to every single step of this journey. So it starts at the very beginning, at the extremely very beginning. So it could start from what type of tree do you want to plant in your soil. For sure, the specialty coffee, it's selective and picking for the cherry.
So
beans.
no stripping.
No stripping at all, because specialty coffee is famous for having no defect, zero defect.
So no defects in the final result means also no defects at the beginning.
Totally. And for sure you want to have a coffee that is not sun-dried, but maybe water processed, or maybe honey processed. That is another kind of process that some farmers use, using the pulp of the cherries. Okay, and the green coffee gets this color, honey color. This is the reason why it's called honey process. So yeah, absolutely, the journey of the specialty coffee begins at the very beginning.
Makes sense, yes, and definitely that selective picking of the cherries, of the beans,
Yeah.
once they've been stripped from the pulp. That's also a step where we want to select only the best beans.
Yes, absolutely. And then there is a double selection usually, or triple selection.
Multiple steps.
Yeah, when the coffee is already clean up. Okay, because maybe some cherry could have some inside some. Okay, you pick the cherry is perfectly red, but inside the beans is not that good. Okay, and you can spot it just after, not at the very in the beginning part.
Makes sense. So, okay, we got all the way from picking the cherries to stripping them, selecting them, sending them to the roaster. Now the coffee is roasted. What's the last step?
Once the coffee is roasted, you can just leave the coffee for a week into special silos designated for degas. Usually they call it degas silos. Or you can pack the coffee immediately. There are two different practices that some roasters do. And when the coffee is degassed, you can pack it, or you can pack it immediately after roasting. This is really up to the roaster and his way of doing things, and then coffee is packed and ready to be shipped all over the world.
And ready for me to enjoy it in the morning, my cup of coffee. So the last step would be the extraction method, and we will have a lot of episodes to talk about different extraction methods.
Absolutely.
Together.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Matteo, for explaining the journey of the coffee, where the coffee comes from, and how it ends in our cups. And we'll look forward for more episodes to make your coffee Astraordinary. See you later. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any questions, post them down here.
And let us know your experience while preparing your coffee with the tips and tricks that we suggested to you.
Also, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button so you can stay in touch.